The last train. I should have listened to my gut that night. I really should have. My name is Marcus Webb, and I'm a data analyst for a tech company in the city. Nothing special, nothing exciting, just another guy with a 9 to 5 that occasionally turns into a 9 to 11. That's what happened on October 17th, the night everything changed. I remember checking my phone as I packed up my desk. 11:47 p.m. The office was a graveyard of empty cubicles and humming computers left on overnight. I was the last one there, as usual. My manager, Derek, always praised my dedication. What he didn't know was that I just had nothing to go home to. An empty apartment feels even lonelier than an empty office. The elevator ride down to the ground floor was quiet. Too quiet. You know that feeling when silence becomes almost solid, pressing against your eardrums? That's what it felt like. When the doors opened, the lobby's fluorescent lights flickered once, twice, then steadied. I didn't think much of it then. The October air hit me like a cold slap when I stepped outside. The streets were mostly empty, just a few stragglers stumbling out of bars, and one homeless man bundled up against a storefront. The subway station entrance gaped open like a mouth leading down into the earth. I descended the stairs, my footsteps echoing off the tile walls. That's when I noticed something odd. The usual smell of subway stations, that mix of brake dust, urine, and hot metal, was different. There was something else underneath it, something organic and rotting, like flowers left too long in a vase. The platform was deserted. Now, I'd taken the last train plenty of times before, but there were always at least a few other people. A nurse getting off a late shift, a college kid heading home from studying, a couple of drunk friends laughing too loud. But tonight, nothing. Just me and the fluorescent lights humming their monotonous song. I checked the digital display. Next train, 2 minutes. I pulled out my phone to scroll through social media, anything to avoid the oppressive silence. No signal. That wasn't unusual down here, but something about it felt wrong tonight. I put my phone away and waited. That's when I heard it. A child's laughter, high and clear, echoing from somewhere down the tunnel. I walked to the edge of the platform and peered into the darkness. Nothing but the twin rails disappearing into black. The laughter came again, closer this time, and I felt the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. "Hello?" My voice sounded small and stupid. "Is someone down there?" The laughter stopped abruptly, cut off like someone had hit pause. The silence that followed was worse. A cold wind rushed out of the tunnel, carrying that rotten flower smell with it. The lights flickered, and then I saw it. At first, I thought it was just a reflection or a trick of the light, but no, there was something in the tunnel. A figure impossibly thin and tall, standing between the rails about 50 feet in. It wasn't moving, just standing there facing me. My throat went dry. "The train's coming," I called as my voice cracked. "You need to get off the tracks." The figure tilted its head. Even from that distance, I could tell the angle was wrong, too far. No human neck bends like that. The rumble of the approaching train vibrated through the platform. I could see the light growing in the tunnel, could hear the screech of metal on metal. The figure didn't move. "Get out of there!" I screamed. The train burst into the station, and I squeezed my eyes shut, not wanting to see the inevitable collision. But there was no impact, no scream, nothing but the normal sound of the train pulling to a stop. I opened my eyes. The train sat there, doors closed, completely dark inside. Every other time I'd taken this line, the cars were lit up like Christmas, but these were pitch black. I couldn't see anything through the windows, just my own pale reflection staring back at me. The doors didn't open. I stood there for what felt like an eternity, but was probably only 30 seconds. The train just sat there, dark and silent. Then, slowly, the lights flickered on. The car directly in front of me was empty, but something was wrong with it. The seats were old, not the modern plastic ones they'd installed 5 years ago, but the ancient fabric-covered ones from decades past. They were stained with dark patches that might have been rust or might have been something worse. The doors hissed open. Every instinct I had screamed at me not to get on that train. But what choice did I have? It was either this or wait another hour for the next train alone on this platform with whatever I'd seen in the tunnel. I stepped aboard. The doors closed behind me like a coffin sealing shut. The car lurched forward, and I grabbed a pole to steady myself. The lights flickered again, and in that strobe effect, I saw something that made my blood freeze. For just a second, in the reflection of the dark window, there were people sitting in the seats, dozens of them, all facing forward, all perfectly still. When the light steadied, I was alone again. I told myself I was seeing things, that exhaustion and the strange atmosphere were playing tricks on me. I sat down, pulling out my phone again. Still no signal. The time read 11:52 p.m. The train picked up speed, racing through the tunnel, but something was off. We should have reached the next station by now. Franklin Street was only 2 minutes from my stop. I stood up and walked to the window, pressing my face against it to look out into the darkness. We weren't in the regular tunnel anymore. The walls were different, old brick instead of concrete, water streaming down them in thick sheets, and there were things in the alcoves we passed, shapes that might be maintenance equipment or might be something else, something that moved. The train began to slow, and I saw a platform approaching. But it wasn't Franklin Street. The signs were old, hand-painted, and they read Bedlam Station in letters that dripped like they were bleeding. Now this wasn't right. There was no Bedlam Station on this line. There was no Bedlam Station anywhere in the city. The train stopped. The doors opened. I stayed frozen in my seat, every muscle locked. The platform outside was lit by old gas lamps that cast long, dancing shadows. There were people out there, or at least I think they were people. They stood in small groups, all facing away from the train, their bodies rigid and unnatural. "This stop is Bedlam Station," a female voice announced over the intercom. But the voice was wrong. It was distorted, layered like multiple people speaking at once. "Transfer available to the Nowhere line. Stand clear of the closing doors, please." One of the figures on the platform began to turn around. I didn't wait to see its face. I ran to the opposite door, pounding on it frantically. "Open! Open, goddammit!" The figure continued its slow turn. I could see its profile now. The skin was gray and hung loose on the bones. Its mouth was open far too wide. The doors began to close. At the last second, I dove through them, hitting the platform hard. The concrete scraped my palms raw, but I didn't care. I scrambled to my feet and ran. Behind me, I heard the doors close completely and the train pull away. I didn't look back. I couldn't look back. The platform stretched ahead of me longer than any platform should. The gas lamps flickered as I passed them, and in each pool of shadow between them, I felt certain something was waiting. The rotten flour smell was overwhelming now, mixed with something worse, something like decay. I spotted a sign for the exit, an arrow pointing to a stairwell. I ran for it, my dress shoes slapping against the concrete. Behind me, I heard footsteps, lots of them, all perfectly synchronized, all getting closer. The stairwell was narrow and steep, the walls pressing in on both sides. The steps were worn smooth in the centers, as if millions of feet had climbed them over countless years. I took them 2 at a time, my breath coming in ragged gasps. The footsteps behind me got faster. I burst through a door at the top of the stairs and found myself in a corridor, but it wasn't any corridor I recognized. The walls were covered in old tile, white and green, cracked and stained. Water dripped from somewhere, the sound echoing endlessly. Doors lined both sides, each one identical, each one with a small window of frosted glass. I ran down the corridor, my footsteps echoing. Behind me, the door to the stairwell slammed open, and those synchronized footsteps poured through. I tried the first door I came to, locked. The second, locked. The third, it opened. I fell inside and slammed it shut behind me, engaging a rusted lock that looked like it hadn't been used in decades. The footsteps passed by outside, a parade of the dead, and faded into the distance. I leaned against the door, trying to catch my breath, and finally looked around at where I'd trapped myself. It was a waiting room. Old wooden benches lined the walls, and a single bulb hung from the ceiling, swaying slightly though there was no breeze. On the wall was a poster, faded and peeling, advertising theater shows from 1952. A ticket window sat in one wall, the glass so dirty I couldn't see through it. As I stared at it, something moved on the other side, a shadow shifting in the darkness behind the glass. "Token or ticket?" a voice rasped from behind the window. I approached slowly, my legs shaking. I need to get out of here. I need to get back to the real station." "Token or ticket?" the voice repeated, patient but insistent. "I don't have either. I just want to go home." The shadow behind the glass seemed to lean forward. "Everyone pays the fare, Mr. Webb. Everyone." It knew my name. "How do you—" "You've been riding for free for so long, riding through life without paying what you owe. But down here, the fare always comes due." "I don't understand," I said. Even as the words left my mouth, I felt a cold certainty settling in my stomach. "What do you want from me?" "The train only stops at Bedlam Station for those who are meant to get off, those who have debts to pay, those who have run out of time." I backed away from the window. No, I'm not dead. This isn't real." "Isn't it?" the voice asked, and now it sounded amused. "Tell me, Marcus, when was the last time you felt truly alive?" The question hit me harder than it should have. When was the last time? Days? Weeks? I'd been going through the motions for so long, each day blending into the next. Work, subway, apartment, sleep, repeat. No friends, no family, no connection to anything real. "That's not the same as being dead," I whispered. "Isn't it?" the voice repeated. The light bulb above me began to swing faster, though there was still no wind. The shadows it cast grew longer, darker, until they seemed solid enough to touch. One of them reached for me. I ran for the door, fumbling with the lock. It wouldn't budge. Behind me, I heard the ticket window sliding open. Something was coming through. The lock finally gave, and I burst back into the corridor. It had changed. Now it stretched infinitely in both directions. Doors upon doors upon doors, all of them identical. The lights overhead were dying, going out one by one, darkness chasing me from both ends. I picked a direction and ran. Doors began to open as I passed them. In each doorway stood a figure. They were all different, men, women, children, old and young, but they all had the same expression. Empty eyes, slack jaws, the look of people who had given up long ago. "Join us," they whispered in unison. "Stop running, stop fighting. It's easier here." I kept running, even though my lungs burned and my legs felt like they would give out any second. The corridor began to slope downward, steeper and steeper, until I was barely staying on my feet. The doors were flying past now, the figures inside becoming a blur. Then, ahead of me, I saw it, a different door. This one was modern, with a lit exit sign above it. It looked absurdly out of place in this nightmare corridor, but I didn't care. I put on a final burst of speed and hit it with my shoulder. I fell through into cold night air and lay there gasping on wet concrete. Rain was falling, and it had never felt so good. I was in an alley between two buildings. At the far end, I could see a street, cars passing by, normal lights, the real world. I got to my feet on shaking legs and stumbled toward the light. When I reached the street, I recognized where I was, 3 blocks from my apartment. I'd somehow come up in a service exit I'd never even noticed before. I walked home in the rain, ignoring the few people I passed who gave me strange looks. I probably looked like hell, scratched, bloody palms, wild eyes, clothes soaked with sweat and rain. When I got to my apartment, I locked every lock on the door, pulled all the curtains closed, and sat on my couch in the dark for hours. I couldn't stop shaking. That was 6 months ago. I quit my job the next day, told them I had a family emergency, and never went back. I got a new job at a company within walking distance of my apartment. I haven't been on the subway since that night. I probably never will. But here's the thing that keeps me awake at night. Sometimes when I'm walking past a subway entrance, I hear it, that child's laughter echoing up from below. And sometimes, late at night, I look out my window and see people on the street below, people who stand too still, who hold their heads at wrong angles, who stare up at my window with empty eyes. The voice from behind the ticket window was right about one thing. I had been going through life like I was already dead, but that night showed me the difference. The problem is, I don't think what happened was a warning. I think it was a preview. Because 3 days ago, I noticed something wrong with my reflection in the bathroom mirror. Just for a second, it didn't move when I moved. It just stood there, staring at me with eyes that were too dark, too empty. And yesterday, I found something in my coat pocket, something I know wasn't there before. A subway token. Old, worn brass with a design I don't recognize and words printed around the edge. Good for 1 ride to Bedlam Station. I've tried to throw it away 5 times now, but it keeps coming back, appearing in different pockets, on my nightstand, once even in my shower. The fare always comes due, that's what the voice said. I think the train is coming back for me. And this time when it arrives at Bedlam Station and those doors open, I don't think I'll have the strength to run. Sometimes, late at night, I already hear the rumble of it in the distance, getting closer. The last train is always the one you can't miss.